Somebody stabbed your boyfriend?
Yeah.
Okay, where's the guy now?
I don't know.
We are covering several big stories tonight, including the release of 911 tapes from the brutal stabbing death of a U.S. Air Force sergeant.
An Arklatex man is arrested in Florida. He is a person of interest in the slaughter of Southwest Arkansas rodeo horse.
And a man is arrested for making threats against the attorney who's trying to put rapper Lil Boosie behind bars. Coverage you can count on starts right now.
Now in high definition, coverage you can count on. This is KSLA News 12 at 10.
We begin tonight with severe thunderstorms moving through the Arklatex. There are reports of trees down, power outages, and large hail. This is a look at the rain making its way into Shreveport tonight.
There is a severe thunderstorm watch in effect until midnight for parts of the Arklatex. I'm standing here with the Weather Center tonight with Storm Tracker Steve. Stephen, are these starting to finally die down? I hope so.
There is some sign that some of this is starting to die down, but there's still some strong storms in the Arklatex right now, and that's why we still have severe thunderstorm warnings. Actually, one of them just expired just a second ago in Bienville Parish. That is some good news. That storm is one that went through Magnolia, Arkansas earlier, did create some damaging winds with that cell. The leading edge of this still has some strong winds tracking off towards the southeast, heading up to about 35 miles an hour. So as we track this out for you, we're putting this down in the Weather Center, manning the live severe weather blog. And Kevin, you've been answering questions for folks all night long.
Yeah, it's a great tool, the live blog, especially during...
Shreveport Police, what's your emergency?
Somebody trying to kill my boyfriend.
That's part of the chilling 911 call Camithia Coleman made after stabbing her boyfriend, U.S. Air Force Sergeant Brian Spinks. The tape was released today.
Coleman was convicted of second-degree murder last week. The stabbing happened in January 2010 at the Quail Creek Apartments in Shreveport. KSLA News 12's Tracy Clemens covered this trial from day one.
And he takes us through this 911 call.
One of the keys to Kim Coleman's trial and her conviction was the 911 call that you're about to hear right now. Just a warning, it's tough to listen to.
Somebody followed me. I was coming to talk to my boyfriend to ask him if he was okay. Somebody came to follow me.
Somebody stabbed your boyfriend?
Yeah.
Okay, where's the guy now?
I don't know.
Camithia Coleman's frantic call to 911.
Has he been stabbed?
Yes.
Okay.
Brian Spinks had been stabbed more than 60 times, but he managed to get these words out while Coleman was on the phone with 911.
Oh. Baby, are you okay?
Throughout the call, she goes from hysterical
I took the knife out of him
to what prosecutors described as angry. A minute and 49 seconds into this call is the last time you hear anything from Spinks.
Hello?
Prosecutor Dale Cox argues that it's at that point that she slit his throat. He told jurors during closing arguments that whoever slashed Brian Spinks' throat did so in a savage manner with the understanding that that would be the final fatal blow. Coleman broke down in sobs and screams every time this recording was played. When it was played during closing arguments, Spinks' family had to walk out, many of them with tears rolling down their faces.
Brian, say something. Say something.
But he'd never say another word, and all over what Dale Cox argued was a fatal attraction. He'd reportedly broken up with her through voicemail that morning. Spinks' family addressed that just minutes after the verdict came down Wednesday.
I hate that this even came down to this just over a simple breakup. It wasn't necessary.
It wasn't necessary. It was unnecessary. And our sympathy goes out to them and as a family and prayers as well, but it wasn't necessary.
Kim Coleman faces life in prison, and she's scheduled to be in court for her formal sentencing hearing later this week. And, of course, we will be in the courtroom for that. At the Alert Center, Tracy Clemens, KSLA News 12.
Formal sentencing for Coleman is scheduled for this Friday, the 11th. She faces life in prison.
Louisiana was recently highlighted for a not-so-flattering statistic. It's rated by one study as the most violent state in the country for the 20th year in a row. That comes from an article in U.S. News and World Report. The article points out that as a whole, the country has seen less violence over the last 20 years. The good news, the Shreveport Police Department has similar statistics of declining violent crime and paints this part of Louisiana as not so violent.
We look at cities like Little Rock, Jackson, Birmingham, Montgomery, similar size cities in our region. And the bottom line is when you compare Part 1 crimes, we're typically below those cities over the past number of years.
Homicides in Shreveport dropped by 37% last year. In 2010, there were 30 homicides. In 2011, there were 19.
In continuing coverage, funeral arrangements are still pending for the East Texas toddler who drowned in her family's backyard swimming pool. It happened around 4 yesterday afternoon in the 200 block of McPhail Road, just east of Hurlton. 2.5-year-old Lacey Baseca was swimming with several other children while her grandmother watched from the back porch. Lacey's parents were out of town at the time. They tell us Lacey was wearing a floaty, but it appears it somehow slipped off. Lacey was rushed to a Longview hospital where she died.
New at 10, the man wanted as a person of interest in connection with the killing of a Southern Arkansas University rodeo horse has been taken into custody in Florida. William Hamilton, who also went by the name Billy Mitchell, was arrested on an unrelated charge, or charges. Hamilton was wanted in Columbia County, Arkansas as a person of interest for the theft and slaughter of credit card, an SAU rodeo team member's horse. That horse and 4 others were taken from the university stables in November 2011. 4 of the horses were recovered, but credit card was later found dead. In a police affidavit, an informant said Hamilton was the one who killed the horse. 19-year-old J.C. Jackson, a member of SAU's rodeo team, has already been arrested in this case. She faces felony theft and animal cruelty charges.
New tonight, deputies have arrested a man they say threatened to kill East Baton Rouge Parish District Attorney Hiller Moore. It's reportedly tied to the ongoing murder trial of rapper Lil Boosie. Deputies say a man used his Twitter account to send a message this weekend. It said, in quote, "I got a sniper rifle for Hiller Moore when he walks out of the courthouse." Security has already been tightened at the courthouse during this trial because of a previous threat against Hiller Moore. With this latest threat, deputies say the suspect sitting in the courtroom where the Boosie trial is going on, that same suspect, or a suspect, they charged 21-year-old Derek DeAndre Green with public intimidation and terrorizing. Boosie's, whose name is Torrance Hatch, is accused of setting up and paying for the hit against Terry Boyd in 2009. Today, both sides grill the alleged triggerman, 19-year-old Michael Louding. Prosecutors say Louding confessed to killing Boyd and that Hatch gave that order. But on the stand, Louding recanted. The defense now says Louding had his own reasons for killing Boyd. Lil Boosie is facing life in prison for first-degree murder. The trial is expected to last at least a week.
New at 10, a volunteer firefighter was hit by a vehicle this morning while collecting money for the Muscular Dystrophy Association. It happened around 10 this morning near the intersection of Highway 157 and 3227 in Houghton, Louisiana. State troopers say the firefighter was standing in the road when a pickup truck hit him from behind. He was taken to the hospital with serious injuries. The driver said the sun was in his eyes. He was ticketed with improper lane usage.
New tonight, a homeowner reportedly left for 5 minutes, and when she came back, her house was on fire. The blaze started around 8 o'clock in the 2800 block of Alkay Street. That is in the Southern Hills neighborhood. Firefighters believe the fire started in the kitchen, but the homeowner was not cooking at the time. There is heavy damage, fire damage to the kitchen, and heavy smoke damage to the rest of the home. Firefighters were able to save a small dog that was in the home during the fire.
Tonight, Shreveport residents had the chance to voice what improvements they would like to see at certain area parks. It's all a part of the $175 million bond that you, the voters, approved last April. The bond issue is being used to repair Shreveport's crumbling water and sewer systems and other projects to improve streets and drainage. Several area public parks and recreational areas are also getting a facelift. $26.2 million is set aside for improvements.
It's just to come together, sit down with the citizens, the user groups, and say, what is it you want in the renovation or the upgrade to your rec center? We think a lot of times about what we need in rec centers, but honestly, what we really want to have is what people are going to use. And nobody can tell us better than the people who use it every day.
There are 2 more public meetings. Both are this Wednesday. The first one is at 1 at Querbees Park, and the other is at 5:30 at the Municipal Auditorium.
Dozens of jobs are on the way to Louisiana. Find out where and if you qualify coming up next.
And an Arklatex young man found himself in a sticky situation, and KSLA News 12 is right there as firefighters freed him from this gumball machine.
We've had some strong storms tracking through the Arklatex tonight. I'm going to show you how much longer they're going to last and what we can expect to see tomorrow. Coming up, the KSLA Storm Tracker 12 forecast.